Hello and welcome to the interview here on France 24. My guest today is Yair Lapid, who is the leader of the centrist Yesh Atid party in Israel. He joins us via satellite from Jerusalem. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mark.
Mr. Lapid, you're currently in the opposition. However, you're riding high in the polls at a time when there's much talk of early election in Israel, as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is under criminal investigations over corruption allegation. In the meantime, the international community is trying to get things moving on the Israeli-Palestinian issue. We saw the United States abstain in December on a UN Security Council resolution. We also saw outgoing Secretary of State John Kerry deliver a so-called legacy speech critical of Israel's settlement policy. And this Sunday, France hosted a conference on Israel and Palestine with a number of countries, but without the Israelis and the Palestinian. The goal was officially to ensure that the two-state solution remains the only possible solution. This conference has been described as a French-sponsored Palestinian fraud against Israel by Prime Minister Netanyahu. Do you share this view?
Not even. I think it was not even a conference. It was a gathering of a social club. I mean, Paris is nice this time of the year. It's not as cold as the rest of Europe. Restaurants are always good. I have discussed this with a friend of mine, one of the foreign ministers who's a friend of mine, and he said, yes, I'm bringing my wife to a weekend in Paris. Because everybody who went to this conference knew that it has no impact whatsoever on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. If anything, it is counterproductive. The same way UN Resolution 2334 is counterproductive because it tells the Palestinians they don't need to negotiate with us. They have to just wait and see if the world is capable of bending our arm. So let me save you the tension. And there's no way Israel's arms is going to be bent on this one. We will not be subjected to somebody else's ideas. We will not be ordered into anything. We're a sovereign country and we'll make our own decisions about how is it that we want to go about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
The problem, however, is that Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't seem to want to negotiate. He keeps repeating that Mahmoud Abbas is not a partner for peace. So basically, letting both parties try to negotiate when they don't want to do so means the international community feels it needs to act.
Well, let me just correct you on the facts. Since the year 2000s, Israel has offered the Palestinians 3 times, not 1, not 2, 3 times, a state of their own over more than 90% of the territories, and they refused. And more than that, let me remind you that in the year 2005, Israel has done what the international community always asked us to do. We have left Gaza. Actually, we left behind even 3,000 greenhouses for them to build an economy for themselves. And we told them, okay, you can build now schools and hospitals and a free society. Instead, they've elected Hamas, put them into power, a terrible terror organization. And since then, they fired 15,000 missiles on over our children. So Israel has had all the right in the world to be suspicious and cautious and make sure the security arrangements comes first. And yet, we are more than willing to negotiate with the Palestinians. I've offered last September that we'll do so under the umbrella of a regional conference, but it has to be organized by the parties involved, meaning the Israelis and the Palestinians.
Meaning Mahmoud Abbas, then. He is, as far as things go, the leader of the Palestinians. You and others are saying he's not a partner for peace. So who do you want to negotiate with?
Mark, next time you will interview, I'm not in the position, or neither I care about answering for Mahmoud Abbas. You have to next time you'll interview Mahmoud Abbas, ask him why is it that time after time he refused the possibility of peace with the Israelis and an independent state for themselves on more than 90% of the territories. With everything, you know what? The United States was established with 13 colonies, and Israel was established with only 55% of its current territory. And you know what? Modern Italy was established without Rome, because people understand you can't have it all. You're not going to have 100% of what you ask. We will not negotiate with people who are telling us either we'll get 100% of our demands or we're not talking to you at all. This doesn't make any sense. And the word should go, the international community, it has to go to the Palestinians and said, if you want to negotiate, why don't you negotiate?
What about Donald Trump? Obviously, in a few days, he will be in power. He's already indicated many things. First thing, for example, move the U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. He's already indicated that he would appoint some people in his administration that are quite favorable to Israel. Some would argue to Israel's right wing, actually. Do you think this is a chance, or maybe this could doom any prospect of peace between you and the Palestinians?
Well, I think the first step in order to have peace with the Palestinians is not to cheat ourselves and others. I think it's a very good move that the American embassy will be in Jerusalem. You know why? Because it's our capital. And because the Israeli embassy in France is in Paris, and the French embassy in England is in London.
But you know, Jerusalem is a disputed area.
Jerusalem is not the disputed area. Jerusalem is the capital of the Free State of Israel, and whoever tells you otherwise is lying. And I see no problem with the idea of having an embassy. You know what? If anything is weird, is the fact that the embassy is not in Jerusalem. The embassy should be in Jerusalem. You know, if you want to be more religious than the Pope, put your embassy on the western side of Jerusalem, so in a place that is there's no dispute over Israel rights on it.
But don't you think it will create trouble and potentially violence? Don't you think this is not a wise move?
No, I think it's a wise move. I think they'll live with it. I think it's an empty threat. And beyond that, what are you telling us? That if any time somebody will threaten us, we will not do the things that we ought to do in order to save our rights and our people? The whole concept of Israel, the whole concept of the independent Israeli state is the idea that we can make our own destiny. And our destiny is in Jerusalem. The people of Israel didn't come back. I love Tel Aviv. I live in Tel Aviv. But the people of Israel didn't come back to Tel Aviv. We came back to our holy land, which is based in Jerusalem.
So let me ask this differently. Is Donald Trump a better president, you think, than Barack Obama was?
I'm not going to grade American presidents. I think Donald Trump is a great friend of Israel. I think he has got part of his family is Jewish. His daughter is married to a very smart Jewish guy who goes to a Chabad synagogue in New York, and
who will play a role apparently. Jared Kushner.
He will play a role apparently. He's going to be some sort of a special envoy. We don't know yet. It's going to take some time, and it's going to need. We need to explore this carefully. I mean, there's always, even after a president goes into power or goes into the White House, there's still what they call the PPR, the Presidential Policy Review. It will take some time, but we are very hopeful toward this relationship, and we think Donald Trump is a great friend of Israel.
Do you think he will try to cut a deal between Israel and the Palestinians? How would you position? What would you recommend he does on this issue?
Well, he said he will. He said, he was quoted saying he's a deal maker and he's going to try cut a deal. We don't know yet what does this mean, so we're going to wait and see. I don't want to rush an American president 3 days before he goes into office.
One thing he did say is that he wants to build a wall with Mexico. You've said in the past that you want to build a wall. There is already a wall, a fence, call it as you wish, with the Palestinians, that you want total separation from the Palestinians. Is this the future you envision for Israel and the Palestinians?
Well, the future I envision, it depends for how long. The future I envision for my children and grandchildren is peace on earth in general, and maybe this is possible. But if you ask me what we need to achieve now, and we can achieve now, is an agreement. And agreements you make with your enemies. The Palestinians are not our friends. It's a sad fact of life. We know how to work with them. There are security arrangements. We have security cooperation with the Palestinian Authority. But this is, whatever it will be, it should be an agreement between two suspicious sides. And you know what? Maybe this is the right way to sign a deal. So yes, I think we should go to a regional conference, starting the long process of separating from the Palestinians. And after a generation or two of separation, maybe there will be also peace and good neighborhoods.
I was mentioning the situation in Israel. The prime minister is under criminal investigation. There's a lot of talk about potential early elections. You're riding high in the polls. Your party is arriving first. You're seen as the most likely replacement for Benjamin Netanyahu. What's your reaction?
Well, first of all, I hope that all those investigations will be over and the prime minister will be cleared out of all suspicions. This is not the way I want to become prime minister, but through election. And you know what? It's not good for the country. And besides, I know the prime minister who wants to see somebody who he knows go through this process. So right now, the smart thing to do is just to wait and see, without interfering with the law authorities' working process.
If the prime minister is indicted, can he stay in power?
Well, I'm gonna ask for a rain check on this question to see if he's indicted first, and then I will have to look at the details and answer this question.
Okay, Yair Lapid, thank you very much for being on the France 24 interview, and thank you very much for watching this interview. Stay tuned for more news.